Recording in progress.
Hey, good morning, Natalie.
Good
morning,
morning.
listeners and viewers. Welcome to the MindPower Paradigm with Elly Molina.
Natalie Mirasola, and you.
And right. Hi, Natalie. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a while.
I know. And you know, the been a while brings me to the perfect conversation for today. And I'll be honest, this is something that's been going on in my own personal life. So I said, let's talk about it. You know, with all the tools and techniques that we have, it's time now to, at least I'm speaking for myself, and I know that many other people, most humans do this also. We have the mind loop. And what is the mind loop? It's when we have one or two thoughts in our self-talk that we are constantly repeating to ourselves over and over again. So I started to look at some of the things that are going on in my life. And I said, well, you know what? My self-talk is driving this condition that I have in my life. And the self-talk is a repetitive thing over and over again. And it becomes like we need to catch the awareness. We need to recognize, you know, I'm doing this. And just I'll backtrack a second. A lot of people say to me, a lot of my clients tell me, oh, I'm a very positive person. I'm a very positive person. Well, that may be so. You may be a very positive person the moment that you're around other people. You may be a very positive person, again, when you're about to come into contact with others. However, what is the conversation that you are telling yourself in the morning when you walk to the bathroom, when you look in the bathroom mirror, when you go to make coffee, when you run your daily errands, when you sit down for 5 minutes, when you go shopping? What is the conversation that is looping around in your head all the time? I'm going to give you, I know I'm doing a lot of talking. Example, go to the supermarket and I look at food, and food is food. It's supposed to be neutral. Yes, some have more calories and less calories. And we also know that we can work with calories and weight reduction if you want to. And I look at food and I go, oh, that's fattening. Oh, that's fattening. Oh, that's fattening. It's a loop that is constantly. So of course I'm telling my body, oh, don't eat that. That's fattening. When you may eat that and drop 10 pounds. Okay. So, all right. Elly's done.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love it. It's almost like we're stuck in this, loop that dictates our entire day, right? So if you're, looking to reduce your weight and naturally you're on, let's just say, a structured program or a protocol. And there have been days that I've been in a loop where, right now I'm going through a cut in my program, and this is probably one of the hardest things I've done in my 39 years of life. So, before I went to bed last night, I actually was stuck in a loop of, I don't want to do this tomorrow. I'm tired. I want to throw my hands up. I want to be done. So when I woke up this morning, I was still in that loop of, I don't want to do this. This is going to be hard. Instead of waking up, and saying, I'm doing this. I am strong. I am resilient, and I feel amazing. Right? So how do you bring yourself out of the loop? Because I feel if you get stuck in the loop for too long, it can really bring you down a black hole, right? And then it starts to affect other areas of your life where, naturally maybe you're sad. Maybe you have some anger emotions because, you're trying to lose weight and you're out with girlfriends and maybe they have no goals of themselves, or maybe they need goals. I'm not really sure, but your business is your business, and you're stuck in this awful loop of, I'm the victim. Woe is me. This is happening to me instead of for me, right? And the loop just keeps playing and playing and playing until probably eventually you're like, I'm done, right? The loop brings you to just tap out. So what would you say to somebody, Elly, as far as steps that they could take if they are stuck in this loop of negativity, of victimized state, of I can't do this, or this is happening to me?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Natalie. And that's so true. It's like awareness, catch the loop. Okay. So, again, there are different ways of catching the loop. One way is to actually pay attention to our own self-talk, which is quite difficult because it goes through like, just goes like that past. We can become really conscious and listen to what are we saying to others. So let's take you, for example. I've heard a few times from you that what you're doing is difficult. This is difficult. So whether you're recognizing your own power, sorry to put you on the spot. It's easier for me to look at you than it is for me to look at me. Right. All right. So you're repeating, this is hard. This is difficult. This is the most difficult thing I've done in 39 years. You've said that to me a few times. Yeah. So that's your loop. All right. Gotcha. So, mine is like, why am I doing this? I mean, I don't even really know what my loop is. So that would be real interesting. And we can have one of those conversations where we go back and identify. In the meantime, what we can do is break out of it to go to the space where we tell ourselves, you know what? I love myself and all is well. It's those kind of affirmations. It's recognizing the loop first. And then I love myself, all is well. I approve of myself. Every day it gets better, better, and better. Every day it gets easier, easier, and easier. I see results. I see results. I see results. I see results in love. Anything that tips the direction from the to the other, and it's got to be. But Natalie, it's self-awareness. It's catching it. It's catching. They're so subtle. They're just so subtle.
Yeah, and listen, I agree that it's awareness. It's self-talk, right? Sometimes I think maybe even if you catch the loop, at least for me, I have to self-talk to say, these are your two choices. What choice is going to push you towards your goal and further away? And naturally, I'm always choosing the correct choice because it's bringing me closer to my goal. But, is it, I guess I'm going to challenge you to say, is it enough to just have awareness and start changing the language? Or is there action? Should there be action attached to that? Right. So if you're stuck in a loop, maybe could an environment be paired with a specific loop, right? Could a habit be paired with a specific loop? And should you be changing those things as well?
And just to your point, the moment that you start changing those thoughts in the loop, then as a result, the environment begins to change. The habits begin to change. Right. You cannot be in that loop and not have different actions. If you change the loop, you are automatically going to get different actions. They will come by default.
Right. Okay.
So, and then the catch becomes being aware of, I have some new habits that I just started. All right. So then you got to build. Then we go back into our talk on habits. Now we've got some new habits. Now we have to build up on those new habits that will give us our new life. There's so much research on it. It is catching the thoughts first. Catching the thoughts first will give you new, experiences, new directions, new things will come into your life. You'll think it's all random. You'll think it's all, synchronicity, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Or, divine guidance. It's actually us altering our self-talk, then quantum physics coming back into our lives, the particles that then create new, I don't want to get too deep into quantum mechanics, the particles that will then, the experiences that will then come back to us.
Right. Yeah. And listen, I love this loop talk because it doesn't just apply to losing weight. And I know we wanted to stay in that topic today, but it triggered a memory for me last June where my 7-year-old was actually stuck in a really bad negative loop. And we worked with a psychologist to get him out of that loop. And the loop had to do with a nightmare that he had that triggered this consistent fear, this fear loop, right? And that's even harder with a child. But you know what? Through consistent work of being aware of it, we were able to break that loop for him. So it could range all the way down from children to adults. And, I see this negativity loop on a daily with my clients who are trying to lose weight. And for me, it's really trying to, like you said, make them aware that, the negativity is happening and what are the verbiage that we're putting out into the environment. What are we trying to get in return? And I'm a true believer in what we give voice to. Yeah, it becomes the loop, and then it becomes it becomes reality, right? Because then it just starts happening to us. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing that it all comes back down to, like, well, not all comes back, but it reminds me of the couch story. Remember, it takes more energy. It does take more physical energy. It takes more mental energy. It takes to become aware and to make changes in awareness. It is so easy to just stay on the couch and stay in the negative environment. And I don't mean physically environment, but mental environment of negativity requires less energy than constantly moving into the higher vibrations of, positivity and love, joy. So tangent for people who are unfamiliar with it, there is a map of consciousness that was created, and higher vibrational thoughts, higher vibrational energy vibrate at a much higher level than other energies of guilt and shame and anger. Those vibrate so low. So it's so much, think about it. They're dormant. They're energies that are they require less action, less energy than other higher vibrational energies.
Yeah. So interesting. Now, what would you say, right, to a client that is trying to reduce their weight, but having a very difficult time, stuck in this loop of victimization of this is happening to me, this is hard, I can't do this, I'm jealous of the ones around me that are just eating and gorging themselves, right? So what would you say to somebody listening today that is stuck in this loop, and how do they move forward?
So bottom line is find somebody who can identify what your thoughts are and guide you. This is not a pitch for my work. But this is exactly what I do. I work with somebody. I listen to what they're saying, and then I hear what they're not saying. Right. That's training. That's training.
Yeah.
You hear what is not being said. And then I go back and I address the things that they have not heard. And then we alter that, creating a real plan, intentional plan of new language, new thoughts, and new vision.
Love that.
So, but it's thoughts that come in first, and it's identifying this. And like I said, this is where you need either a MindPower coach or a behavioral therapist and someone who can get in and who's trained to hear and recognize, what is it that you're thinking? Yeah. What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because every person in this world needs a coach. Every coach needs a coach. And, when we're traveling the road by ourselves, it's so hard to really make, I think, lifelong change, because we're wired as human beings not to see what we should be seeing, right? And that's our survival brain keeping us safe. So I love that.
Yeah. Oh, heavy thoughts for today, and yet they can be very light. Okay, so people, thank you, Natalie, for today. People, identify your loops, and if you're unable to identify your loops, record yourself, and hey, send them to me or Natalie. We can a few seconds, we can identify that, and, we'll move it from there.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
email us.
Yeah.
Everything's on the website now, and let us help you and lead the way to better days ahead.
Absolutely. All right, Natalie, everybody, have a wonderful, blessed weekend, and watch your loops, right?
Yes, absolutely. I'll talk soon, Elly.
All right. Take care. Lots of love to you and everyone. Bye.
Bye.